The year was 2247, and Earth was no longer the dominant power it once was. The galaxy had expanded, and humanity had become a small player in a vast interstellar arena. But Earth was still home, a fragile, beautiful planet teeming with life, culture, and history. And for Captain Elias Kane, it was the only home he had ever known. Elias was a man of quiet strength, a former space explorer turned teacher at the Global Academy of Sciences. He had seen the stars, walked on alien worlds, and witnessed the wonders of the universe. But nothing compared to the simple joy of teaching young minds about the cosmos. His students adored him, especially his daughter, Lila, a bright and curious 12-year-old who dreamed of following in his footsteps. Lila was Elias's world. Her mother had died years ago during a failed peace mission to a war-torn colony, leaving Elias to raise her alone. Lila was his reason for everything, his anchor in a chaotic galaxy. Every evening, they would sit on the rooftop of their modest home, gazing at the stars. "Dad," she would ask, "do you think we'll ever meet aliens who aren't trying to conquer us?" Elias would chuckle, ruffling her hair. "One day, Lila. One day." But that day never came. One fateful morning, as Elias prepared for another day at the academy, news broke of an interstellar incident. A human colony on the edge of the galaxy had been attacked by the Zorathians, a ruthless alien empire known for their brutal conquests. The colony had been wiped out, its inhabitants slaughtered without mercy. The galaxy watched in horror, but Earth's leaders hesitated, unwilling to provoke a full-scale war. Elias felt a knot of dread in his stomach. He knew the Zorathians well, he had encountered them during his exploration days. They were merciless, their only language that of power and domination. But even he couldn't have predicted what would happen next. The attack on the colony was just the beginning. The Zorathians, emboldened by Earth's silence, set their sights on the planet itself. Their massive warships descended on Earth's atmosphere, their ominous shadows casting a pall over the cities below. Panic erupted as people fled for their lives, their screams echoing through the streets. Elias rushed to the academy, where Lila was attending a science fair. He found her in the auditorium, her face pale with fear as the building shook from the impact of Zorathian bombs. "Dad," she cried, running into his arms. "What's happening?" "We need to get to the shelter," Elias said, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. But as they made their way through the crumbling streets, disaster struck. A Zorathian patrol unit intercepted them, their weapons trained on the terrified civilians. Elias stepped forward, shielding Lila with his body. "Please," he said, his voice trembling. "We're not a threat. Let us go." The Zorathian leader, a towering figure with cold, unfeeling eyes, sneered. "Humans are weak. You do not deserve to exist." And then, without warning, he fired. The blast struck Lila square in the chest, her small body crumpling to the ground. Elias screamed, his world shattering as he cradled her lifeless form in his arms. "No, no, no, no," he sobbed, his tears falling onto her pale face. "Lila, please, wake up," but she was gone. The Zorathians left without a second glance, their laughter echoing in the distance. Elias's grief turned to rage, a fire burning in his chest. He vowed then and there that he would make them pay, for Lila, for the colony, for every innocent life they had taken. Elias's grief became a rallying cry for Earth. The news of Lila's death spread like wildfire, igniting a firestorm of anger and determination across the planet. For the first time in decades, Earth's fractured nations put aside their differences and united under a single banner: vengeance. Elias emerged as a leader, his quiet strength and unwavering resolve inspiring millions. He poured his grief into his work, developing weapons and strategies to fight the Zorathians. But the road to war was fraught with challenges. The Zorathians were a formidable foe, their technology far superior to anything Earth had ever seen. Their ships were faster, their weapons deadlier, and their soldiers seemingly unstoppable. Every battle was a bloodbath, every victory hard-won. But Earth refused to back down. Elias's grief was mirrored in the hearts of every soldier, every scientist, every civilian who had lost someone to the Zorathians' cruelty. They fought not just for survival, but for justice, for Lila, and for all the innocent lives that had been taken. Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, a shocking revelation changed everything. A defector from the Zorathian Empire, a high-ranking officer named Commander Vera, contacted Elias with a message: "The Zorathians have a weakness. And I can show you how to exploit it." Vera's betrayal was a turning point. With her help, Earth launched a daring attack on the Zorathian flagship, a massive vessel known as the Eclipse. The battle was fierce, the skies lit up with explosions and the screams of the dying. In the end, it was Elias who delivered the final blow. Standing on the bridge of the Eclipse, he faced the Zorathian leader, a cold, calculating figure who had ordered the deaths of countless innocents. "This is for Lila," he said, his voice steady as he activated the self-destruct sequence. The Eclipse exploded in a blinding flash of light, its destruction marking the end of the Zorathians' reign of terror. The war was over, but the scars remained. Earth began to rebuild, its people united by the sacrifices they had made. Elias stood at the forefront, his heart heavy but his spirit unbroken. One evening, as he stood on the rooftop of his home, he looked up at the stars, clear and bright for the first time in decades. "We did it, Lila," he whispered, his voice trembling with emotion. "We showed them what we're made of." And as the first green shoots began to sprout from the barren soil, Elias knew that Earth's future was finally beginning to bloom. This story is a tale of loss, resilience, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity. It reminds us that even in the darkest of times, hope can prevail, and that the bonds of love and justice are stronger than any empire.